Welcome to the second installment of making our entire summer wardrobe in just 4 days. So basically the idea behind this was that I am going to France in July, and because I live in Scotland, I don't really have a lot of summer clothes because it just never really gets hot here, which is why we already started out making some summer clothes in the previous video. I will link it up here or there or somewhere. So we basically made a dress which was a gingham pattern and kind of low cut, a little bit like Lizzie Bennet Walking to Netherfield-esque. Then we made a circle skirt and a blouse. So these were very whimsical and romantic, but obviously going to the expedition concert, I still need a baguette outfit. So I actually wear these little corduroy trousers, which I have in 3 different colors. They're from Halara and I absolutely love them. I wear them all the time and I would be wearing them to the expedition concert if, like I said, it wasn't in France in July, because these are really nice for like the temperature currently, which is probably like 16, 17 degrees-ish and cloudy in Scotland, but I don't think I want to be wearing these at like 32 degrees. So we're gonna make something today. I got myself some nice black cotton, which is very light. So it is stiff but light. So I'm hoping I can make some really nice trousers from that to function as my summer baguette trousers. So it's not just black, it has like the tiniest little bit of a stripe on it. You might be able to see that. So it's really nice fabric. It feels kind of like a little bit thicker poplin almost. Got this from Fabworks. This is from their summer collection, so they always get these dead stock fabrics that are a little bit more interesting than just plain linen. So this is, I think, a cotton linen mix. So it's quite fine. It's not the usual coarseness of normal linen. So I'm thinking this will do really well for a pair of trousers. So now I know you're gonna tell me black isn't the best color for summer, but it needs to be black for the baguette outfit. So on the other hand, I got myself this fabric. So I don't know why, but I've been so obsessed with this. It's like little stripes that intersect. It's not a plate, I think it's a window pane. So this one weirdly reminded me of this fabric that Son de Floor have been using for this season, but it's less colorful, and obviously I'm not a very colorful person. So I thought this was super cute, but also a little bit off-brand for me. But I am seeing myself making a little top from this. I am going to be using the Ruffle Pants by Make It Yours, the label, which I used to make my pajama trousers recently. I don't want them to look the same way my pajamas do, but generally speaking, the fit was quite nice. So I want them to be pleated, want them to be fitted rather than having an elastic. And I also want them to be cuffed at the bottom, so kind of folded up. So I will have to make some amendments to this to get it to fit the right way. But generally speaking, I liked how it fit because I did make some baguette trousers sometime before from wool, and those didn't work out as well. They were like too high and just a little bit funky, so I think I'll try this. And as for the blouse, what I'm having in mind, so I saw this reel where someone literally just like took a sheet of fabric, cut a hole for the head in, and then some strips on the side to tie it forth and back. And I'll maybe show you here what I'm talking about. But that looked so cute, and I was really eager to not just make another blouse because I've been making blouses that look quite similar for a while now. So I've been talking about needing more blouses, but at this point I have a lot of blouses that all kind of look the same and kind of fill the same function. But those are the 2 things I'm trying to tackle for now. We might do a 3rd thing, but I'll see how I get on for time. So for now, cutting out the fabric and assembling the trousers, which I always forget how to do, so bear with me as we figure it out together. See, the problem with black fabric and a ginger cat is basically that this is now fur trousers. They are absolutely covered in cat hair, so that's fun. So I've cut out the back and the front, and then because I made the pajama trousers quite short, I added a little bit to the bottom, so they are actually the perfect length if I didn't have to fold over the cuff. So I've just added a little bit more so that it's hopefully enough that I can do a folded cuff. Then in addition to our front and back pieces, I've cut out 4 pieces of pockets. So I've made them a little bit of a funny shape because I couldn't find my trouser patterns, but basically I want them to be a little bit like here, where they're actually part of the waistband, and the trousers go to the front a little bit like this. So this is the pocket you can see here. because that makes it not stand open if it was like a normal side seam pocket. So I'm trying to do that, and I'm not sure whether that's gonna work. So we'll see, we'll figure it out together. Then I've cut out 2 pieces of waistband, which currently feels quite big. Just use the same size I've used before. So it is plenty of waistband. I can shorten that a little bit when I fit the trousers. Then I've got some random bits of scrap fabric that I will be using for facing for the front here, because I do want to have a front opening like this. And then I've got some more scrap fabric. Not sure if I'm gonna do this, but I might want to do some belt loops, because I do tend to wear these trousers with belts sometimes. So it would be nice to have belt loops, but also not sure if I can be bothered. So these are the pieces I need to make the trousers. So the first step is going to be sewing the front and back together, just to make a pair of trousers to see what it will look like. So the trousers are assembled, and considering that I've only just recently made trousers this time, it was a little bit easier figuring out which seams go together in which places. So I don't think the pockets turned out amazing, like these little bits where they meet with the side seam. Yeah, so I'd say don't look closely, but from like further away, it's already looking really good. So I've already put in some pleats right here, because that was the one thing I really wanted, for it to have pleats in the front, because I've been looking at so many like cotton and linen trousers, especially on Halara, because that's where I got my corduroy ones from. And there were some linen field trousers that kind of looked like what I was looking for, but they didn't have the pleats. And then I was first considering whether I should maybe get them and like multiple sizes up, because I always get them bigger so I can fit my hips actually, and then make them fit to my waist. But I was like, I could maybe get them like another size higher and then put a pleat into the front. But then I was like, this is getting so much work. I'd have to actually take off the waistband to do that. So I might as well make them myself, especially considering it was a linen feel fabric, so polyester. So with this, I'm liking how this is turning out. So it's quite a thin fabric, and the trousers are also big enough that it feels airy, so this is good. I do want them to be big enough to fit without a corset, so that is the most important thing. Currently I'm wearing like a little, it's not a corset, what is it? Just like a little like 1940s thingy, just to make sure I look a little bit better for the video. So we've got the pleats in the front, we've got little darts in the back, which I will just sew as darts, so it won't be pleats, it will just be sewn in, just to shape the back a little bit more. I do still have to figure out how to do the closure in the front, so currently it's just pinned closed, and I will use some facing and maybe make a little flap so it doesn't open, but I will not put a zipper in because I just don't want to put a zipper in, let's be honest. So with my other trousers I made some time ago that had a front closure, I just put some hooks and eyes there, and it wasn't the best choice, but it was easier than sewing in a zipper. So I think that's what I'm gonna do here as well. Yay, guys! This is a success so far, which doesn't mean it's going to say a success, but it's a good way to start the morning with. I am happy to say that we're making really good progress. So this is what the trousers look like currently. I ended up adding some elastic to the back right here. And you might remember in my old videos, I was talking about how I never managed to get elastic that is actually properly tense and gives me that cinched in waist that I really want, while still offering me the option of wearing it a little bit looser. So I got some elastic that was really tense, and I sewed it in with like as much tension as I possibly could. So now the trousers are kind of tight, let's be honest, which isn't bad because all of my other trousers that I have from Halara are actually really loose fitting. So even when I don't wear a corset and it's just my natural waist, they're too big. So this being quite tight on my slightly corseted waist isn't a bad thing because I don't actually have trousers that fit like this. Also, naturally, they look better, so this is nice. Let me show you a little close-up of what they actually look like because they're very black. The button is kind of holding onto dear life currently, but that's just because I didn't put any interfacing into the waistband, so it's just 2 layers of fabric. And then you can see the elastic here, and I also put belt loops in, so generally speaking, looks really nice. So I do still have to put some hooks and eyes in here to close the flap, and I still need to hem the trouser legs. So when they're not folded up, they're currently kind of the length that Lune's and Ciel's trousers have. So obviously I want mine to be Mel's length because I just love that length. I think it suits me the best. So I'll just sew that in to make sure it stays in place, and then we can iron the pleat into place because currently everything's just very rounded, whereas it should have a little bit of a crease right along here. So that's going to really pull everything together, I think. Yes, but generally speaking, this is going well. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and do these last little changes, and then we're going to start working on the top. And this is something I haven't done before, so I'll have to really wrap my brain around what we're going to do. So let's take a look at that. And that brings us to part 2 of this video, in which we're going to make a top from this. So the idea is that I'm going to follow this reel that I came across, where they basically took just a really big square that is about the width of a little bit more than my shoulders, and then it ends at the waist, and then we fold it in half so that it sits like this, and up here we're going to cut the neckline. So we basically just have a square with a head hole that goes over the head, and then around the waist we attach a little strap so we can pull it to the back and the other thing to the front. And then it's open to the side, but because it's overlapping, it kind of covers the sides here. And that looked really cute in the video, but I have no idea whether that's going to work. So I'm not going to tell you too much what I'm doing because I'm going to follow the reel, and I'm just going to link it down below so that if you want to follow this as well, you can follow the original creator and not me. So she gives us some instructions as to how big the square is she's working with, but also she says her waist is quite high, whereas my waist is quite low, so I'll have to make it a little bit longer. So I think I'm just going to start out by cutting out a square the size that she suggests. Am I going to make a mock-up first? Am I going to make a mock-up first? Am I going to make a mock-up first? I think I'm going to make a mock-up first. And I know last time I used this mock-up fabric, all of you were like, oh, it's so lovely, you should really finish the blouse and make an actual blouse from it. No, hear me out, it's not nice fabric. This is the fabric I used for the last summer wardrobe mock-up that I was making for the blouse. And all of you were really obsessed with it, but hear me out, it's got like this weird waffly texture, and I don't really like it at all. So I'm not sure what you guys are seeing it, but I think I'm just gonna make a tiny little mock-up just to be safe, because I do like that fabric a lot. I don't want to waste it. And in the video, she just said she cuts a neck hole based on another piece of clothing she had, so I have to estimate it. So yeah, so mock-up it is, I think. It's not going to take too long, so let's cut out something. I don't think this pattern has any right to work because it's honestly too simple, but it kind of does. Like, it's not amazing. Like, I think this fabric is just way too stiff, but if it's set a little bit more smoothly, it kind of works. And it is super airy, and obviously you would want to wear it with like a cami or something underneath, but I do that anyways. So yeah, it kind of works. So I think I'm going to try that because this feels like a really cool pattern for summer that, again, I don't think should work. I might want to make the neckline a little bit lower. So in the video, she said she was using bias binding to finish the neckline. I think these sides here can just be hemmed with a folded hem. And the length I currently have is kind of perfect for my waist. So if I gave it a little bit of seam allowance, it would be perfect. Like, I don't believe this actually worked. But yeah, it could do with a little bit lower leg, so let's do that. So the top is actually already finished. I have it right behind me here. And I didn't really get a chance to film much of it because it is honestly so easy. I couldn't believe how quickly this came together. Because basically once you have it cut out, you have to bind the neckline. So I just used some bias binding for that. Then for the sides that are just a rectangle, so I just folded the hem and sewed over it. For the waist, I did the same, though I did fold it a little bit bigger because I wanted the waistline to be a little bit bigger. Then I prepared 2 straps, which just went onto the back piece to be tight in the front, and they're a little bit thinner and shorter. And then I made longer bits that went onto the sides of the front, so I could wrap them around and tie them in the front again. And that's it. It was so quick. So if you're a sewing beginner, this pattern genuinely is so easy. Like, you cannot go wrong. And it's so quick. So I'm very excited to show you guys soon, but first I actually have to do some hooks and eyes onto my trousers. So I thought, since I'm sitting down anyways, I might as well have a little chat with you guys. Because as you know, I started my job about a month ago already. So I've been really busy with that. I feel like I've just been spending a lot of time editing videos at work. So I've been struggling with editing videos for my private YouTube channel, which is why you've been getting videos every 2 to 3 weeks. So I'm really sorry about that, but there's just so little time left in my day when I'm finished with work. But other than that, I'm really enjoying it. Like, I'm surprised I'm saying this because I've never been someone to say that they like their job. And obviously, I'd still probably rather be unemployed and not have money worries. But as for a job, I'm really happy with what it is. So a couple of things I've been doing so far, for example, I filmed an interview with a lecturer about a master's degree that we have at the University of Glasgow. And we wanted more students to apply for it. So I filmed an interview with him. And then another thing I did the other day was that there was a PGR, so postgraduate research, knit club. So just students who get together and knit together, and they arranged this event that was in the Glasgow Women's Library. We even got a tour through the library and learned a little bit about the history, and they brought out some old vintage knitting patterns, and my boss wanted me to cover it to show that we have a really good student community at the University of Glasgow. So I just got to go to this knitting event and spend 3 hours knitting. So yeah, like, I genuinely cannot believe this is my job. It has been a lot of fun so far, and everyone I'm working with is really nice as well. This is so very much better than what I've been doing before. Like, honestly, all of that science stuff in comparison, like, I cannot believe, like, why did I do this for 10 years? Working in marketing has been so much more pleasant. Genuinely, there's like no dangerous, like, life-threatening chemicals, and just generally speaking, my work is just editing videos and sending emails, and I only have to come into Glasgow 2 days a week. And other than that, I have also finished my current edit of A Map of Stars Unbound. So the book is actually currently with the first set of beta readers, so not a big pool yet, so not like just calling up strangers from the internet, because I know that some of you have been asking whether I would also open up the beta reader pool to my followers and subscribers, which I think I will, because I really want to know what you guys think, and I hope that you guys can be honest with me and point out the things that might not flow as well yet, so that it becomes a better book in the end. So I'm actually taking a step back from the book. I have been working on it for so long now, and it's an itch in my fingers to read through it again and try to make it better and better and better. But I'm just thinking, you know, just leave it to the people now. They read it and we talk about it, and then I can go back and make it better. Oh, the battery just died on me. I think that is my sign that I've been talking for long enough. I have put on the hooks and eyes on this, and the top is done and everything's done. So I think we are done for the day. So this leads us now to the big question. Are we gonna do more? Because I have that fabric over there, and I do kind of want to make another top from this, because it's really cute. I actually used it for another project that you will see in a different video. So there is a little bit cut out, but I'm thinking it would look really cute to make a top from this. So now the question is, do I just make the exact same thing I've just made, because I'm so obsessed with how this turned out? And I already checked, this is just the perfect width. So I might just make another one, but I might not show you, because like I said, it is so easy to make this that I don't actually have to film it, because there's very little to be done. And also the lovely lady who did the reel explained it really nicely, so you don't need my explanations. But I think I might make another one. So I guess that means I still have quite a bit of sewing to do, but we're almost at the reveal part. However, when you see me again, I shall have slightly different hair. Probably I'll be looking exactly the same I do now, but I've been so annoyed with my hair lately. I feel like it just gets to this point where one morning I get up and suddenly I hate it. It's so strange having short hair. When I had long hair, I never had that. It was just always the same. It was such a constant in my life. But with this hair, like, it's just like okay, and then suddenly I'm like, no wait, now it's not okay anymore. So I've booked a hair appointment and I'm gonna get it cut, and I think I might want it a little bit more layered. We will see each other again when I have done some more sewing. I got my hair cut and I will be a whole new person. So I hope you're ready for that, and let's take a look at new me and new outfits in the reveal. So we are done. And as you can tell, I ended up not making the exact same blouse twice. Even though I really love the light blouse we've made, so the one that's just like a rectangle, I still can't believe it worked out. Like, this is so amazing. The pattern, it's genius. So all credit again to the person who posted the reel, because I didn't come up with this, but I am amazed. However, I then thought, as much as I really love this, I think I'll only wear it with a corset, because it really emphasizes how tiny my waist is with a corset. But if I was to wear it without a corset, I'd have the waistbands on my waist, and you guys know how I'm not a fan of having anything tight on my waist when I'm not wearing corsets. So I would probably not be able to wear it, or like very loosely, and then it wouldn't really work. So then I was thinking, what else could I make with this red fabric? Something that I will actually reach for, something that I feel really comfortable in. And then as I do, I was wearing my pajama that I recently made. I'll actually remind you what it looks like. So this is the Claire bodice from Hubading on Etsy. And I just gave it some sleeves and a ruffle. So I have made a video about this. You can look it all up in my video. But basically, I love wearing this. I love wearing the pajamas. That's why I also use the pattern for the trousers to be these trousers. I feel so comfortable in these pajamas. So this is basically the same top, but like with slight alterations. So I was just like, I'm just gonna make that, because this is the perfect top to wear without a corset. It's honestly so light, so airy. It's not overly like form fitting, so it doesn't make me look any thinner than I am. But I guess that doesn't always have to be the main goal for clothes. I had enough fabric to make a really nice ruffle. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough to do a sleeve. So I ended up just making these little sleeve caps, which I think do the job as well, because you know how I'm always a little bit self-conscious about this area of my arms. So with that, it just gives me a little bit more squareness to the shoulders. So great set of blouses I've made for different occasions that I will definitely be reaching for when it's hot. The trousers, on the other hand, are such a disappointment. So hear me out. I actually love what they look like. I was so excited when I made them, because they're just like the perfect, like crisp, thinner fabric. And I was like, amazing, perfect trousers. I am the best seamstress in the world, so this isn't necessarily down to me, but I actually wore them already to work one day, because I was just like, these are amazing. I need to wear them every day from now on. But as I said, they are quite thin fabric because we made them for summer, right? So it's not summer in Scotland yet. It is June, but it's not very warm. I actually wore my warmest winter coat the other day because it's still very windy and very cold. But so I wore these trousers with quite thick knit ties. So hear me out. I did not cut these to fit with thick tights underneath. So they were tighter and I could feel them on my legs. I could feel them shifting against the fabric and it drove me absolutely insane. And also when I sat down, I had to like pull them up a little bit so they wouldn't be too tight. And what I then realized is as well, the fabric crinkles so very much. So by the time I got to work and I was sitting in the train for like 1.5 hours, they just looked silly. So the crease was gone, there was a lot of crinkling up here, and I was just looking at myself in the mirror being like, this is a failed outfit day. So I have some feelings about these trousers now. They now look amazing because I just ironed them, but if I need to iron them every single time I wear them, I'll probably not reach for them very much. Thanks for listening to my rambling. Thanks for being here, and thank you for your patience. And I will see you in my next video. I'll see you then. I hope you all have a lovely summer, and I love you all, and I'll see you soon.